up for a while, but I don't want to talk about it. Nah.
I'm gonna stay in this truck sleeper till Wednesday till my skin turns gray. Yeah, we'll give this a go here from the bunker.
Live outside of Soldier Field with some of the fans who aren't too happy at this point, John.
This place looked like the deck of the Titanic. I thought I was on the forecastle of a tramp steamer. The way the oaths and curses went up. Listen, knock it off here. All right.
Well, welcome to another Drake and the Maestro Hurricane Edition.
Yeah.
Here from, I guess, what, Maestro, you're holed up in the sleeper. I'm in the bunker. We got wires. We got wires down, and I think I got the DSL working enough to make it happen. Otherwise, we're gonna go to the phone backup, and we'll try that.
The audio quality will decline severely, and it's not great to begin with.
Well, you'll definitely notice a difference.
Yeah, there'd definitely be a difference. It's up to you whether it's good or bad, but it's gonna be a difference.
We had a storm knock down a big willow tree, and then it was resting on the utility lines.
Cool. Was it your willow tree?
No, across the street, but it's my utility lines. Was
it your willow tree? No, but they're my lines. Oh well, in that case.
That's right. No, it's the lines that feed our little, hamlet here. And
Hamlet.
The owner
alas, poor York. I barely knew him.
That's correct. And so it's up to the Lions to decide whether they are to be or not to be. And the answer is not to be.
For now, it's to be because you still have power.
Well, I still have power, and we have our own generation if we have to, and the wind blows and the lights flicker, and it's like
I feel like there's a country in there somewhere. The wind blows, the lights flicker.
It's something, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully the other, we have it kind of light compared to people farther south, right, or underwater. So.
I saw one dude who's in his Freightliner and the water's up to the windows, and I was like, "Holy cow!"
Right.
That was my first clue that it was real bad.
Yeah.
And then I've seen multiple posts of people looking for loved ones or other drivers that are lost because the weather is so bad.
Yep. So just having to hang out here in the bunker is like pretty. That's light duty.
Yeah. No, I'm in the cave. I'm in the truck sleeper cave, enjoying my my solitude here, my fortress of solitude.
Ramen noodles.
Yeah. Hey, I got food. I got tacos. I had tacos earlier.
Well, and I'm watching now. I was watching the whole because we still have some TV down here in the bunker. And
right.
I'm watching the guy in the rain slicker on the Weather Channel.
Getting pelted by fish.
Or Little Debbie snack cakes or whatever, from Hurricane Debbie.
Can we work on a hurricane naming convention? Because
I thought they had
Debbie
one.
does not sound as bad as it should be.
Yeah, it should be Deborah, not Debbie.
Or Death, Destroyer of Worlds, or anything other than Debbie.
Vlad the Impaler.
Right. Laser beam. This is Hurricane Laser Beam. And it's like, oh no, I don't want to be near that. Not Debbie. I think the last one was like Cassandra or something. It was just
Debbie, but we were talking about it, Debbie. It was just like getting pelted with Little Debbie snack cakes.
Well, yeah, okay, that was the last. This
Hurricane
most recent
Debbie.
One
it's like you get a Swiss roll in the eye. It's
right. This most recent one that just hit Florida, that just went through. Yeah, it had a name that started with an H, but I can't remember it. It was like Hassan or something.
I'll just name it after Russian KGB agents, if nothing else. If they're gonna use female naming convention.
Vlad.
No, the female naming, Ursula, right? Hurricane Ursula.
Natasha.
Right. That would be something at least be a little bit afraid of, like, right?
Well, it might be a hurrane. It might bring you goulash. You don't know.
Why not both? So I'm watching the newscaster, and they're not going to make the same mistake they made before, and I forget what hurricane that was.
I think that was Katrina, where they were standing. The guy was standing on the street, and the people, and like the water is so deep here, and it's like people walking. He's like in a kayak.
Well, right. He's kind of
leaning
into the little bit of wind, and there's like 3 homeboys in hoodies walking around behind him, pulling a shopping cart full of stuff. It's like,
right, just
it's so terrible. Through. It's like being on the forecastle of a tramp steamer. And the residents are like, well, I don't know what he's talking about. Walking around the background. So this time they're not making that mistake, and they got a real tight shot on the guy. So, and then they're showing drone shots and stuff like that. And I want to know what drone is qualified to go up in a hurricane, right? Mine won't. Mine will look at me and go, "You got to be kidding."
Well, my back flap wasn't even rated to be in a hurricane, apparently, and I'm in Ohio.
Might want to give the listeners a little more information on your back flap.
On my back flap, yes, that's true. And that's why I'm currently. And that's why I'm not driving, ladies and gentlemen. That is why
the Maestro without a back flap.
I have a type of trailer called a Conestoga, which is tarping if you're lazy, and
it's tarping for walrus.
It's tarping for walrus. Yes, it's basically the tarp's on wheels, and you can move it and tighten it and all that, and you don't have to do a lot of work. And so I was getting ready to back into the customer, and I had seen other drivers out there with their Conestoga flaps, which is like the door on the back of the Conestoga that keeps the weather out open. So I figured, the storm's dying down. I'll be all right. And no, I was not all right. It was not okay. The wind suddenly and very violently picked up. The flap was rolled on top. It stood straight up, went through the roof, came out of the roof, went through itself, turned into a parachute, tore off the back of the trailer, and then shot across the parking lot like a javelin.
And right at the moment, it went through your head. You know what? This wind's kicking up. I better address this.
Just after the moment of, boy, this wind's getting really bad. I should probably get out and put the flap back down. And I got out and I looked, and that's when it went straight up. And I went, uh-oh. And jumped out to try to go catch it. And got to watch the glorious flight of my back flap go flying across the parking lot like a majestic falcon, just sailing through the air to parts unknown, missing the other Conestoga that was a parking spot. So it was me, a regular flatbed, and then another Conestoga. So he was about 15, 20 feet away from me, and it went sailing across the parking lot and landed under his trailer, completely clearing the other flatbed that was sitting there.
Yeah, that's one of those situations like, oh, crap, I was supposed to meet my girlfriend. I better call her. I'm way late. And then the phone rings. It's like, SpaghettiOs. No, I didn't forget. Well, I kind of forgot, but then I remembered, but then it's too late.
Yeah, right.
It's like that.
Yeah, and it was, thankfully the company is very understanding, and they said, well, you're just going to have to fix the roof, and we'll get you over here. You're in Ohio, so you're not going to be able to take the load, but you are up the street from where we can get it fixed, because that's where they're made.
Right,
and
which is why you're holed up now, because you're waiting for Omar to finish making the tent.
The Bedouins are currently making me a flap. Because they have to be custom made, because I have a special kind of trailer. I have a special height of trailer that they don't stock the flaps.
Right. Well, as long as your personal back flap is okay, then
personal back flap's fine. Actually, one of my friends pointed something out to me. He was like, it's probably good that you weren't out there in that wind when it did come down, because there's a good chance it could have that metal bar. It's got metal bars in it. There's a good chance that could have smacked you in the face instead of your kit. It's like, that's a good point.
Yeah. That would have been what we call undesirable. That's right.
Yeah. Ow! And somebody else had been calling my company going, hey, I think your driver's dead. Why? Well, his back flap's currently impaled in his face.
They'll say, that's the Maestro. He died the way he lived.
A walrus.
Whatever that means. I've been in the bunker watching TV and watching these other issues, and and I have some of the because like I said, the DSL's been a little sketchy, so I'm watching sketchy TV to go with it. And
who doesn't these days?
Watching this Steven Seagal. It's kind of funny. It's this TV series. Yeah, it's like Steven Seagal does Jack Reacher, kind of, sort of.
So Steven Seagal, but it's Jack Reacher, but the main character is fat and out of shape.
Yeah, and it has the widow's peak and Grecian formula hair that looks like it looks like he got a toupee and they just cut the toupee out of a black velour tracksuit and then stapled it to his head. It's comical.
Man.
It's perfectly edged. Now, if you're going to get the front of your hair edged, like I sometimes do that. I do the edging, and of course, all the brothers like it because it makes you look sharp.
It makes you look sharp. It makes you look good.
But Steven Seagal's definitely got some edging going on, but it makes the widow's peak worse. It's like he's got a speedboat on his head. It's just this big V-hull shaped piece of velour that's been, I don't know, silly puttied to his head. And I want to like Steven Seagal. And the intro to this is
he
really
doesn't
hilarious.
make it easy.
No, he doesn't. He really fights you.
Yeah, he really does. It's real hard to like Steven Seagal.
And I've been noticing something else because I've been going through collections of different TV shows. One of them is an Australian version of JAG almost, where it's the Australian Navy patrolling the Pacific coast there.
It's called JAG Off.
That's right. Nice one.
It wrote itself. I couldn't stop.
One thing, no, you had to. You just had to. And now, whenever I see the TV show, that will be forever.
You'll never be able to unsee it.
No, won't be able to unsee it.
You heard it. Now you can't unhear it.
That's your specialty. So
yeah,
I noticed, and I've been noticing something about all these other shows I've been watching, including the Dick Wolf series on the the bird with the many colored tail.
You're gonna have to narrow that down.
Well, no, Dick Wolf is very prolific. But on the Chicago Med, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire. Crime, Chicago Don't Go Outside After Dark because you'll get robbed series.
Chicago Hot Dogs.
Yeah, all that. It all uses the same annoying incidental music, right? So, and it's all it's basically people exchanging knowing glances at each other for 45 minutes.
Show?
With dramatic music.
The TV show.
Yeah, that's the TV. That's what it ought to be called. If it's ever on our cable channel, we're going to rename it. It's just annoying. It's just like knowing glance, interpersonal drama. Enough.
Your comment about Steven Seagal's hairline reminded me of I was at our new terminal, our brand new terminal. I was sitting in the driver's lounge, and we were watching Barrett Jackson from a couple of years ago, and a gentleman came on the TV who, being described as balding, would be generous.
Okay.
He had the Elvis coif, but it was set at the farthest back point on the top of his head that it could get.
We call that a receding.
No, his hairline didn't recede. It surrendered.
It's a receding pompadour.
Yeah. His pompadour was French. It was escaping the Germans in the 40s.
That's right.
It didn't just recede. It surrendered and was stationed at the back of the wearer. I mean, it was so far back on his head. If he turns his head sideways fast enough, I'm pretty sure it'll knock him over.
Well, maybe he's like
a runner.
Maybe he's just gonna paint eyes on the back of his head and learn to walk backwards and
something. But he's wearing the sunglasses and he's got the product in his hair because it's all coiffed. His esthetician coiffed it for him.
Just age gracefully. He's got
the slightly longer hair on the side of his head, and then he's just got chrome dome up the middle. It's just, dude, you're bald. Just accept that you're bald.
Right.
And they cut to a photo of him from 10 years, it wasn't even 10 years, 5 years beforehand, and the hair is about halfway up his head. It's dude, the tribble on top of your head is escaping. You need to stop it. You need to tie that down.
So I'm tying this around. I read the survey on the last podcast. They were saying, faster and funnier instead of,
the survey.
Not, yes. not so much long and rambling. So I'll try.
I participated
No
in that
promises.
survey.
No promises. I'll try. So
I'm results in my favor.
Incidental music, right? And it's the same. It's like they all go to the same music catalog.
They do.
And they go, okay, this will be. So I'm noticing that between shows, they're using the same incidental music, and that reached. Dick Wolf is terrible with it because at least with the CSI shows, they got the dang dang, and the other music isn't so bad.
That's CSI. That's SVU. Yeah.
Yeah,
Law and
SVU,
Order.
whatever. Yeah, Law and Order. That's it. Law and Order. It's all blurs together.
It's all terrible trash TV, so it's okay.
Yeah, after a while, it's like, leave us alone, Dick Wolf.
Stop producing shows, Dick Wolf.
He's no Stephen Cannell or right, Stephen Cannell, the guy, A-Team or Belisarius. Those guys just ruled the '80s. And then
he's the '90s guy.
Well, yeah,
Dick Wolf.
Yeah, and it's for the younger generation where I guess you guys just like shared knowing glances at each other and
don't lump me into this. I don't know nothing.
Communicate with facial expression that can be misinterpreted and often is. I don't know.
I have to call people because I don't know what they're talking about. And I'm like, what are you trying to text me? Can we do this over a phone call so I can understand the subplot and the subcontext of what you're trying to give me here? Because it doesn't make any sense.
So you're becoming the old man. Very good.
I've always been an old man.
I noticed that with the Seagal production, this is what I found disturbing. Well, many things. It was disturbing on many levels. Okay.
Well, first of all, Steven Seagal there.
Right. There was the Steven Seagal factor. There was the hair, the double chin. He's clearly trying to. He's clearly trying to hide the boiler that he's developed over the years, right?
Yeah.
You Navy guys out there will get it.
He ate old Steven Seagal. He ate old. That's what he looks like. He looks like Steven Seagal ate old Steven Seagal.
Well, it looks like he tried to get get his chops together a little bit for the TV series.
He got in shape, round as a shape,
and he it's the credits are hilarious because it's like one of those joke like Kentucky Fried Movie little featurettes or whatever. It's like a Steven Seagal production of Steven Seagal in Steven Seagal's True Justice was featuring Steven Seagal, written by Steven Seagal, produced by Steven Seagal. I'm like, okay, well, we know where the budget went, didn't we? But then it turned out to be pretty not bad. The second okay. So I'm watching.
So you're saying that the
second
season
beginning
wasn't as bad?
No,
but the question is how much.
I want to redact that because there's a funnier bit of it. But first, the music. Okay, the music is very dramatic at the beginning, and they show shots from the trailer and the series, and people doing dramatic things and whatever. And it's got it's kind of drum beat driven and all that. And then I'm like, okay, so I had my fill of Seagal for the day. I switch over to my Australian patrol boat show. It's the same music. They show it's a low shot of like a chopper or something going across the water to show a lot of fast motion on the water, right? And that's the kind of the intro shot, and then it comes up on the boat going the opposite direction to make it look like it's going really fast when it's really probably only going about 20 knots if on a good day.
Right.
It's the same music. No,
at least it's not the royalty-free music,
Well, it might. Oh my gosh! I just okay. So fine, we have a Dick Wolf situation going on here, but it was tolerable. The Dick Wolf stuff. After 3 episodes, it's like I got to take a break. I can't watch the Chicago 3.
You can't watch Knowing Glances, the show.
I can't watch all 3 hours of Knowing Glances back to back like they intend.
I can't take the main dude in Chicago PD seriously because he sounds like he gargles nails before breakfast.
Well, he does.
Right.
Yeah. And now he's going through some kind of psychological trauma that I don't care about, which brings me to the Steven Seagal show. I'm starting to watch the Steven Seagal show, and opening first, everybody dies. I'm like, oh, okay, I can work with that. But then it's like, then there's new people. All of a sudden, it has made a jump, and there's new people. and I don't care about these people. I don't know anything about these people. Why are they doing what they're doing?
The people.
Right. Okay. I just go with it because there are elements in it that this is why you watch for Steven Seagal, because you watch the bone crunching and the really kind of cool way he deals with people. Although I think he's been isn't he doing like a keto or something like that? Isn't that his style?
Yeah, he's got his own thing.
Right, but I think he's been actually hanging out
times.
I think he's been hanging out with Stephen Hayes over there at the Ninjutsu Toshindo place in Dayton, Ohio.
Maybe I'm not near Dayton.
His style is definitely more relaxed. It's much more ninjutsu style than it used to be. I mean, he's still doing his own thing.
But
he's still doing his own thing where he's like, doing bone crunching people's hands and all that, which is all the stuff you look for. But instead of the fancier stuff, it's just like, step kick and little kick blocks and stuff like that.
Don't call me a kick block.
He's doing a pretty good job. It's pretty satisfying to watch. What I thought was interesting is at least he knows why you're tuning into a Steven Seagal production of a Steven Seagal story, of a Steven Seagal series featuring Steven Seagal. Bone crunching.
It's like watching Crocodile Hunt. Right? He finally figured out why we were watching Crocodile Hunter and tried to intersperse knowledge in between.
So he puts down his gun. He could shoot the guy, but he puts down his gun and basically messes him up because Steven Seagal.
MacGyver's him.
Right. Good. That's because that's what we're watching for. So there's this whole thing going on. There's all this action going on. He's got a team. The team's engaged with all these multiple assailants and this and that's going on. It's going on 3 different levels on two different playing fields. And meanwhile, when time is of the essence, Steven Seagal puts his gun away and starts, manually crunching bones. Which, let's face it,
manually rearranging spines.
That's what we're watching for anyway. Great, because you know what? Suspend the whole time thing. Yeah, we're in a hurry, but we always have time to break a spine. You know what I'm saying?
That's
always have time. It's part of the new Drake and the Maestro wear. I didn't tell you about that yet. There's always time to break a spine, and because
I'm glad I'm part of the merch meetings.
Yeah, plots are terrible. So a little detail like that, who cares? Show me some more.
Watching it. Nobody's actively watching the TV show anyway. Why should they start caring now?
So show me some bone crunching, So I guess it's and so it turns out, why I don't care about the characters? Because I somehow inadvertently watch season 2 first.
Oh, that'll do it.
So I went back and watched season 1. I'm like, now it makes sense. That was my fault. Oopsie.
Nice going. Dingus. I don't care about any of these characters.
Well, there's a reason for that. You missed the introduction.
Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can always go back and watch it later and realize you didn't care. You don't care about him anyway.
So yeah, and I'm watching my cop shows, right? And there's Sheriff or Chief Brantley and Sergeant Beardley at a demo derby, right?
Oh, they're in the demo derby, or is this
just... they're watching. They're in uniform watching. I'm assuming they're doing security or something.
Yeah, making sure the patrons don't get too rowdy.
Yeah, make sure all the destruction stays on the track. That kind of thing. But they really illustrated cop humor because Chief Brantley's watching. It's like, look at that. I did that to a guy last week.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Beardley, he's like, oh yeah, look at that over there. That was a good hit. You remember the thing with the guy and he tried to get away and whatever? Yeah, I did that to him. So it's proof. It proves to me that they don't want a chopper because they're having too much fun taking him down on the road. Now you want air support? Nah, we got this. He's headed for Dead Man's Curve. And so they cut away and they go to a guy who's having an absolute meltdown at a shopping mall. I mean, kind of a walrusy guy in his 40s.
Hey, I resemble that remark. Well, not in the 40s.
Right.
I'm not in my 40s yet.
And but he's more like Potato Man Walrus, right? So he's probably really thin at one point.
He's got big beer gut and thick.
Yeah, he's got a big boiler going on. And he's having a tantrum that a 3-year-old would be proud of.
Cool.
I'm just going. And so the cops, they walk up to handcuff him, right?
Yeah.
And
he need you to wear these bracelets, sir.
Here's your party bracelets. And so he's still having a meltdown. And
of course.
And then he's flopping around the deck like a walrus or a fish or
like
something.
A fish.
And these two older people show up and
the one because
they were kind of come out of the crowd. There's kind of like he's kind of like gaining some attention as the crowd starts forming up. Yeah, they come out of the crowd and they're talking like, hey, what are you putting the handcuffs on him for? And they're like, the guy looks like the guy on the ground, but like 20, 30 years older, right?
So he's dead.
Right. And he's got a balloon, a black Mylar balloon that says over the hill. And then the woman with him has got like one of those party bag, that you put gifts in, gift bag.
Uh-huh.
And she's getting crazy. So you know where the crazy runs from in the family, right?
It's mom.
Yeah. And she's like, and she starts putting her hands out. Never a good idea. And she starts pushing away. That's a good way to end up with some
bracelets of your own.
Right, which is where it was headed. And they have totally pretty much ignored the guy on the ground who's flopping around with his bracelets on.
He's too busy going, oh.
Right. Well, now he's on the ground while they're ignoring him. And he's trying to do the deal that the skinny people do, where they can.
Oh, he's trying to get his hands underneath his legs to get up over in front of himself.
Right, but
he's got way too. Pal.
He's got way too big a boiler. You're not going to be able to lift his knees far enough, right?
Where'd you get the boiler thing from?
I've been talking with the Navy guys.
Okay.
Linguini, I can say he's got a lot of linguini.
I just want, it's different. It's a change in the vernacular. I wanted to see what was going on.
It's not a vernacular. It's a doiby.
All right, Carly. That bit died in 1923. Let's get back on track.
There was 36. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but he gets himself stuck. So that's why they can ignore him, because he's now completely immobilized himself with his hands on the back of his
self-immobilizing suspect.
Yeah.
You don't see those.
So all he's doing is kind of rolling back and forth. So now they're dealing with mom.
It's probably grunting. Just
yes. So now they're dealing with mom, who's decided to throw hands. Literally, she's throwing hands. She's throwing hands in the officer's face, but she's throwing hands at the cameraman. Right? I don't give you consent to film me. Put that camera away. Don't film me. You can't.
Listen, it's nature documentary rules, man. They're not going to interfere. They're just there to document.
You are not to film me. Meanwhile, there's 12 people who showed up to this scene, and they're all got their cameras out, and what are they doing? They're filming.
Of course.
Come on, woman. Look around you. You're being filmed from every possible angle. Don't film me. You can't film me in public. It's happening. Deal with it.
You'll like it or not.
So this whole scene, apparently, as we're noticing from our context, right? Balloons, party bag, right? They're coming out from his 40th birthday party, and his car got towed. The car was not parked.
Illegally
parked, and it got towed. And I felt that. I have felt that frustration. When I was a courier, I put the two wheels of my van over the white line in the alley, and I came out to see my van going down the road on the back of a tow truck and going,
hey, isn't that my van?
Yeah, that looks familiar. Oh, son of a... And the guy in the loading dock, he's like, yeah, you got to watch that, man. You park a squeak over the line, and they'll pirates will get you. I'm like, I've been gotten. Yeah, so I'm running down the road.
They're real bad up there in Chicago, man. They're notorious.
And then I had to go to Cabrini Green to get my van back. It was like, I know why there's so many shootings out here. Anyway, so I understand that. And the scene from Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, when he gets to that frustration when he's on the runway, he's like, he's angry beyond words. That whole thing was, I've been there. I know what that guy's going through. He's laying there locked up on trying to roll around on the floor. Right. I understand the frustration, but there's that's Clint, as Dirty Harry said, a man's got to know his limitations. Yeah. So that was good. Did I tell you I saw the A-Team fan the other day? The 18 van?
Yeah, somebody had made a fairly convincing facsimile of the 18 van, and I saw it going down the highway in like West Virginia or something. I was like, was that the 18 van? Just
man, that's cool. I wouldn't
great.
mind. I wouldn't mind an 18. Although I would not have the back jacked up in the rear the way they did. You've seen the way that thing wallers in the corners. It looked like it was going to just, yeah.
No, you just angle the stripe down a little bit so that it gives it that illusion.
Yeah, right. And the 18 van for the movie wasn't jacked up like that.
No.
The one they crushed at the beginning. You can't park there. That was a handicap parking zone. I like that.
Fool.
I like the movie because Cannell was able to get it. Actually, Cannell, when we get to kill people now?
Right.
But they give you the backstory of why Murdoch and BA just can't get along.
Crushed his van, fool.
Well, it's the whole, how they get introduced. It's great. It's sewing stitching them up and sewing a lightning bolt into the stitches. And
Did you request a lightning bolt? What?
Meanwhile, they're doing that, and he's setting face on fire.
Yeah.
Great.
I like the cutaway to him trying to jumpstart an ambulance with the defibrillator.
Oh yeah, it's great. That's definitely not a Steven Seagal production.
No, it's got quality. It's got things like talent.
Right. Yeah, speaking of vans, I went and got wheels. I got the new wheels put on. Hell, right? For the listeners out there, I've been trying to get, the van is all-wheel drive, and I do go out and I use it to get myself close to my hunting spots.
Or stuck, which is originally the case.
Right. I mean, originally the tires that were on the van would get you stuck in wet grass. Might be good if it was an EV, but it's not. So deal with it. So the only way I could get all-terrains on the van was to cut away the fenders and stuff, and I've been putting it off for a year. And then I discovered this company that makes specifically wheels specifically for my van, specifically for the tire size that I'm going to use, and I ordered them, and they're awesome. However, they like to sell the company likes to sell them as a package with the tires. Well, I already had the tires.
With the tires, yeah.
I already had the tires. In fact, I had them on other wheels, all ready to go. It just, I didn't want to. I don't want to work. But I don't want to trim the body work in my brand new van, kind of thing going on.
Right.
So they want to sell you the whole package, and in the whole package, they give you the tire pressure monitors. It uses the original lug nuts, so they give you lug nut covers, the whole thing. And I sent them an email saying, "Can I purchase? I've purchased the wheels. I just placed the order. Here's the order number. Can you sell me the lug nut covers? Right, please take my money. Lug nut covers and tire pressure monitoring kit."
Okay.
And I get an email back saying, "This is so and so over here. I'll work with our wheel and tire team and see if we can get that done." Right? Week goes by. I hear nothing. And then the wheels show up. They're just the bare wheels with the center caps. So I'm like, okay, I guess, So anxious me, I load everything up in the van, go down to the tire place to get things switched. Anxious
or impatient?
Yes, anxious and impatient.
Oh, hostile and intolerant.
No, it's better than hostile and intolerant. And, so, and anyway, everything went fine. I was really kind of cautiously optimistic because when I went there, usually I go in there and I got 4 wheels and tires already mounted. Plus I have 4 separate wheels, and all of it loose in the van. And I'm telling the guy, I said, okay, take the wheels off, take the tires off these wheels, put them on these wheels. But I also need you to move the tire pressure monitor over and then balance. And are you going to have any trouble? I was showing him the wheel. Going to have any trouble balancing this because it doesn't
stand on your head.
It doesn't have a lip on it.
And rub your tummy.
The guy looks at me. He goes, "No, we can handle that. Would you like them put on the van?" Oh, yes, I would. That would save me a lot.
I would,
right? But I didn't want to push the envelope of customer service because lately,
right,
bad things happen. Right?
That's fair.
Yeah, I can put the wheels on. But yeah, okay. So then they drive the van in. And they take everything
You
out,
hear a
lay
loud
it out,
screeching noise as it falls off the car lift.
and then there's a crash. No, actually, they didn't even put it on the lift. They did it right on the floor with floor jacks. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Tall van.
The
They
guy,
don't want to bash it into the roof.
the guy comes out, and he says, "Okay, just to get this straight, you want," and he lays out everything, in order of operation. He lays out the whole order of operation for me. And I must have taken too long to reply. He says, because he says, "Does that sound okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's great. You got it 100%. I'm just like in shock here. By all means, go. So let it be written. So let it be done."
Yes.
Right.
Thank you,
And then
Metallica,
he goes in the back, and there's like machine tool noises and things. And
Sounds like a NASCAR pit crew got lost.
Yeah,
back
and
there.
at one point I thought I heard a dolphin, but I don't know. It was weird. So I'm waiting out front, and I notice.
As you should.
Right. Well, no. I mean, yes, I fought every urge to go in the back. I was like, "I'm going back." No, don't go back. Don't go in the back.
Don't bother the service people while they're working.
You're retired. Don't be that retired guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
I used to do this, and this is how we use it. Do you want this done, or we listen to the stories, old man? Can you do both? No.
Not with you here.
It's in the same strip mall. Well, it's the adjacent strip mall to the place that in our first episode I tried getting coffee, decaf coffee, right?
Yeah, the mop water from McDonald's.
There is something wrong with me because I hear the siren song of decaf. The promises
siren song of the dirty mop water.
Yes, and it's starting to work on me. So, I could just wheel down there. I mean, they're going to be busy I could wheel down there and get a cup of decaf. Like, no, don't, no. You know what you're going to get.
Do I need to hang around you and just slap your hands away from the controls of your wheelchair every time you get near McDonald's?
Fortunately, the doggy was with me, and so was my wife. So she's like, "Look, a coffee machine," and she's like, "There's a coffee machine in the waiting area." I'm like, "Oh, look, it is."
The boatman has some right here, sir.
Oh, I kicked that around. Let me look at it. So I get the one with the striped awning?
That's right. The Donald Duck?
Or Popeye. And it's one of those bun, carafe style where you pour through the top. Right. And
disappoint yourself. Yes.
It's like they've got decaf. And I'm like, ooh. And it's been on the end. It's on the burner. And it's 2/3 consumed. And it is distilled down to a fine syrup.
Just the way you like it.
The way I prefer that over dirty bean water. I'll tell you that. So I have the decaf syrup, and it was medication time anyway. So I took that, and I took
give your coffee soup.
I put a little coffee. I put a little regular coffee in there with it. Kind of cut the syrup with the fresh regular coffee.
Yeah. It also gives you a little extra kick.
Yeah, it was great. And it was free. And I didn't have to wheel down to the next strip mall to get it. And I didn't have to wait for, McCafe barista to screw it up twice.
And then give you dirty mop water anyway, yeah.
So it was like really fancy French roast, because French roast always tastes burnt to me anyway. The real stuff does.
Well, it's just fine. Roast. It's the roast part of the French roast.
Well, that's right. It's fine. I'm okay with it. It worked out. So they put the wheels on, and then they put the old wheels that I'm going to sell on eBay. Back in the bags that the other new wheels came in, and then took the old tires and stacked them up inside the van. And it was like, what pressure would you like those set to? Like up that. Now you're messing with me. You cannot fool me with a good time. So I gave him
you can't fool me.
Because the guy's like, well, you're not going to run them on the door pressure. I'm like, oh heck no. It's a 3/4 ton van, a 3/4 ton van with nothing but a wheelchair lift and an old guy in it. And you put those tires all the way up to what they say on the door, and that van changes lanes by itself. It just hits a bump and boink, it's in the next lane. A little bit of water, it's in the ditch. No. So it was great. It
becomes super twitchy.
It does. And so everything was wonderful. I took a photo because I was like, oh, I'm so happy. Drove it back. It rode great, drove great. Not a shake, shimmy, nothing. Beautiful. Tire pressure's right. Tire pressure monitors are working. Get back, sit down, check by email, and here's an email from the wheel company. Would you like to add this to your order? I'm like, what? So I open up the email. It's like, we're holding your order here to see if you wanted us to add the tire pressure monitor kit and the wheel cover, lug nut covers. And I'm like,
you are?
What? You are? They showed up 2 days ago. So I sent an email back. I was like, I'm sorry. I I figured that you guys didn't want to sell anything to me. The wheels showed up and I just went and had them put on. So no, I went and got the stuff elsewhere. Yeah. It's like, oh, sorry.
You?
She's like, oh, well, okay, sorry. I was just waiting to hear back from the wheel people. I'm thinking to myself, okay.
You are the wheel people.
Right. Well, and I thought to myself, well, they're an upfitter, right? That sell upfitter parts, right? So they upfit these vans and they upfit the vans to campers. They make campers out of them.
Yeah.
That's their primary business.
They're not the wheel manufacturer. They're just getting them from a supplier.
Right. And they figure since the parts department has to stock it all anyway, we might as well make some money on the side. Good play. I like that. It's a good strategy.
Bold strategy, right? Cotton. See if it pays off. But
the customer service person needs a little. She completely missed what I was saying. Apparently I assumed you guys didn't want to sell me anything because I didn't hear anything. And she's telling me, well, we were waiting from the wheel people, but I didn't hear anything and the wheels showed up. So obviously she's missing the point that she's out of the loop, right?
Somebody's out of the loop.
That the wheels were shipped anyway. There's no way that order's being held. Although I should have, I thought about it later. I should have said, yeah, go ahead and bought the kit and see if I get a whole nother set of wheels show up.
Yeah, there you go. And new tire, and a whole nother set of wheels, and all you're missing is the tires.
Right. So I get so I have 2 sets now. Of course, keeping them would have been unethical, but I would have been interested to see if it would have happened because I could see that happening. So I didn't even bother responding to that email. I figured, you know what? I've been ghosted so much by emails and texts and whatever. I'm just going to do some ghosting, and it felt good.
Shouldn't.
So I just left it. Because how do you even respond to that? Because she's missing my point. Am I going to get into it with her with the whole? Well, no. What I'm trying to say here is you're first of all, you didn't communicate with me that that's what was going on. A simple email to say, hey, I haven't heard back yet. We're still,
just waiting on the wheel people.
Yeah, would have been good. Then it would have been nice for whoever you're working with to let you know they shipped them.
Anyway.
Yeah, that would have helped. No, I'm done. I'm not getting into that. Why? I'm just too happy with the new wheels and tires and the way the van rides.
At least you're happy.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go cut apart a nice van.
Correct. So it worked out. But, oh my gosh. Customer service just...
Well, you know what it is. You got your customer service from the people putting the wheels on the van,
right?
And so it was all used up there, and you couldn't get any from the other place.
Oh, is that it? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense.
Well, I had a really good week before I went when I went down to Texas, and then now my flap is missing off my trailer. So and I have a hole.
No good experience goes unpunished.
That's right. You got your email. Yeah. I got hurricane winds. We all have our thing.
It was interesting. I was reading the news, and
you were. Why?
I was because I do that. I aggregate my own news sources and read them. The proliferation of betting apps, like what are some of those? Like you can bet on sport events.
I don't know. I don't bet
with an app. With that
gamble.
That black comic comedian guy, Kevin, whatever.
You're gonna have to narrow that down.
Is it Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart.
He's doing some kind of like Gambling's Kings.
Yeah, DraftKings, and that's not a new service.
No, I know it's not new. It's just become it's proliferating. And the article was saying that it's leading to a lot more people. Because usually it used to be you had to go to a seedy betting parlor and throw down your money, and and that was kind of a deterrent. Yeah. But now you can do it right from the privacy of your own phone. I guess with the app thing.
Yep.
You can place bets and you can get they get you started by I'm not doing an ad for these people. They get you started and they get you hooked, right? They give you a little taste where all of a sudden you win some quick cash and then all of a sudden you're hooked and then pretty soon
as most of those schemes do, yes, they get you started.
Pretty soon you mortgage your house for the 4th time and your kids and your wife and kids are leaving you and
you're losing your mind because some sports ball team isn't playing as well as you hoped they would. Yes.
Sport harder, nitwits. Anyway,
it's one thing to do some friendly bets with your friends, like who's going to win the game this weekend. It's another thing to mortgage your house.
Right, mortgage your house on the office betting pool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking how. Oh my goodness, this is just. I'm glad I'm not really a sports person. I'm not. I used to be.
Either.
but the various strikes of the various leagues kind of really left a bad taste. And I'm like, I'm done with all
that's
y'all.
Not true. I'm not. It's not that I'm not a sports person. I just don't go out of my way to find sports. I still have teams I root for. I just don't go out of my way to watch it either.
Well, I try to do a Cubs a favor and not watch them because they do better when I don't.
Well, right. No, I actually have Sox gear to wear when the Cubs play, and then when the Sox play, I wear the Sox gear as well.
Well, I kind of do the variation. When the Bears are playing, I wear my Cubs stuff, and when the Cubs are playing, I wear my Bears. Because
I just prefer baseball over football anyway. So I have a lot of Bears, or not a lot of Bears. I have a lot of Cubs stuff.
I liked baseball and football when I was a kid growing up, and you could listen to it on the radio, and that was fun.
Well, yeah, you could sports casting has the same problem that NASCAR has, that they're doing too much inside baseball.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care. I know who that's for, and I'm not that guy.
Right. It's sort of the nerd. It's the nerd who wants all the inside. Yeah. Right.
That's keeping track of runs batted in and how many touchdowns the quarterback's thrown this year and whatever else is going on. And I'm not that guy. That's not me.
And those nerds used to be the color men. They would just add, that's Steve Stone. I'm Steve Stone. And here's a tip for you little leaguers out there. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Meanwhile, Harry Carey is just boozing it up,
meanwhile, Harry Carey's drunk, and there's a production assistant trying to keep him from jumping off the balcony.
Right. Yeah. I mean, those are the guys I listened to. I grew up with Jack Brickhouse, right, for the Cubs, and Harry Carey for the Sox.
And Harry Carey. Harry Carey was the Cubs.
Well, he was the Sox until Brickhouse retired, and then he went over to the Cubs.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
That's okay. He got more popular with the Cubs because they're a little bit more rowdy. I think the Cubs fans tend to be a little more rowdy than the Sox fans.
They're an interesting bunch. I don't know. The Southsiders are, Anyway, so I was thinking to myself, thank goodness I'm not a sports person. And so I turn on NASCAR to watch the race on fast forward, as I do.
Yeah, stopping
for the yellow when the green turns yellow in the top left corner. I'm like, oh, somebody crashed.
Something happened. I should probably watch this.
Right. And so I stopped because something happened, and I'm looking at the stats on the drivers, and I'm like, wait a minute. Who's in first? I feel like an Abbott and Costello routine. Who's on first? Who's in first here? I don't understand.
Is this guy?
Yeah, what is this plus 1,500 minus 1,000? What the heck am I looking at? And then the announcer, then the graphic switches, and this ranking is brought to you by DraftKings. Like, no, stop it. So that was the betting over under on all the drivers. And I guess we'll have to auger this in after this, but I have to say it. I have to get it out there. Kyle Busch can't catch a break all season. He's trying to be. He's trying to be the gentleman's racer. He really is. He's trying to be the gentleman racer after getting a little rowdy and frustrated at the beginning. And because his nickname is Rowdy. And so he's trying to really be the gentleman racer. And this last one I watched, he deserved to be very, very frustrated. But I saw
clips because Chase Briscoe, he was in the lead and Chase Briscoe came up on him.
And Briscoe's like, He didn't
want to go a lap down. Briscoe didn't want to go a lap down.
Oh, right. He's, I'm in the playoffs. I can't go a lap down. I'm going to go wreck the guy in first place who hasn't won all season. But he's been so close so many times. So I'm just going to wreck him.
Not cheated, just had bad time.
The fickle finger of fate wasn't exactly. The bluebird of happiness did not fly delicately over his cake.
Yeah. Oh,
so
your cake's got weird pinstriping on it.
I'm just like, why can't you just give? I mean, all Briscoe would have done is come down a foot off
out of his way.
I'm a lap down. I gotta stay. No. You know what? Just accept it. Just like your receding hairline. Accept it.
Accept that you're going bald. Move on with your life.
Do it gracefully. Seagal needs to rip that piece of velour off his head and put down the Grecian formula and just age gracefully. I mean, if you wanted to do anything, maybe work on reducing the linguini, or just accept it. Just go old man.
You're bald. Just accept that you're bald.
How many parts? How many good, decent acting parts potentially could you get if you were kind of like still kind of a good-looking but old man actor who can do martial arts? You could get some gigs.
Bruce Willis. Yeah, you'd be Bruce Willis.
No, but Bruce Willis has been kind of. You'd be Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's doing kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. But he's decided to age gracefully and do other things. So
yes, he has.
Take a hint, Mr. Seagal. Although he has too, because this TV show is kind of old. So
just saying.
Who would have thought 2012 is older these days? But oh my gosh, it is.
It's 12 years ago.
And
almost 13.
It's probably. I know it's probably time to auger this thing in. I think people have heard enough.
Sure is.
Heard enough.
Unfortunately for them, yes, they've definitely heard too much.
Thank you for joining us in the bunker. We appreciate it.
Yes.
And hopefully everybody out there that is in need can have their needs met. And
definitely. Yes, we are. It is unfortunate what's happening all over the East Coast right now.
So my little internet problems and a few branches blowing around is trivial, but it makes for a podcast. So
that it does.
Thanks for listening, and adios.
Adios.
Adios. Adios, muchachos, caballeros. When you get out of here.